Have you ever felt trapped doing things the way that you've always done just because that's the way you've always done it? How about maybe sending an email the same way that you've always sent it, or marketing the same way that you did in your corporate job, or maybe even wearing a collared shirt when reality you just wanted to wear your favorite Uncle Nearest hoodie. I don't know if y'all can see it there. Hi, today I want to talk about something that's super near and dear to my heart, and that is the idea of understanding the things that make sense and don't make sense anymore, and not being afraid to let go in the areas where maybe change is needed. So today I'm going to show you what breaking free from past programming looks like, and the key to finding out what works best for you and for how you specifically do business and want to show up in the world. So it's kind of funny the way that all of this came about. I was cleaning my car out on, I think it was Monday, talking to one of my friends. We're going to DC together, where I'm going to be talking at the Conscious Leadership Summit. And she was talking about the fact that she was possibly going to come down early. And I was like, no, I can't come early. I have to go to my son's soccer game. And anybody who knows me knows that I have been to every single sporting event that my kid has done. We've done soccer, we've done basketball, we did a stint with gymnastics, baseball, flag football, regular football, track, field, everything, right? I've always been to every single one of his events. And I was like, oh, I can't miss an event. I can't miss an event. And I stopped and was thinking, EJ had actually told me a while ago, like, hey, Mom, you don't have to come to every single sporting event, but I just always did it because that's what I had always done. Now, I'm here for the kiddos. Like, I'm not saying, don't participate or be a part of your kids' sporting events, but I had just wrapped myself up in this need to be to every event that I was walking away potentially from a chance to network with a friend that I haven't seen in, oh my goodness, almost 3 years now. And I really had to stop and say, wow, like, I've held on to this thing. It's no longer serving me now that my child is a teenager. What else is no longer serving me? Not just in my personal life, but even from a business perspective as well. So that's what really kind of got me started down this path of thinking. And, as entrepreneurs, we're natural born rebels, right? If you think about it, the world kind of tells us, hey, you go to school, you get good grades, you go get a job, work for someone really cool and awesome. And it's like, no, we've decided that we get to be the really cool and awesome people. We are the ones that get to go out there, build these businesses, build these brands. So we're a little bit already, if not high on that rebel spectrum already. And, for us, we're not following the herd. We're not following the crowd, but sometimes these old beliefs, these old habits, these old thought processes still can follow us. And as crazy as it may sound, a lot of times that's the hardest thing, right? Getting rid of these ideas, thought processes. And it's not something that just happens automatically. It is something that we have to actively work on. We don't just wake up and say, oh, they're all gone. All of these things that no longer served me are gone. It is something that we have to be very, very intentional about getting rid of, removing out of the way. And it can be anything, right? Maybe it's the way that you work. Maybe it's the way that you do business. Maybe it's the way that you show up for your kids at sporting events, or maybe even the way that we measure success, right? What no longer serves us in this new space of life that we're in. And, here's the truth. You don't have to just stick with what you've always done because you were told that that's how it's was done. The world is changing fast. And as entrepreneurs, we have to keep up with it. And we have to be constantly assessing what does and what doesn't work for us. And when you stop and you think about it, what in whatever arena that you're in, when you think about somebody who you look at as successful, whether it's an entrepreneur in, leadership, in marketing, and, whatever that looks like, the people who are most successful tend to be the ones that think outside the box, the ones that, challenge the norms, the rules, aren't afraid to ask a lot of questions. And again, just really, really think outside that box. So today I want to invite all of you guys to embrace that idea, embrace the idea that, what is your inner rebel one, right? What does that look like for you? Letting go of those thoughts, those actions that are no longer serving you, and saying, what does different look like for me? What's no longer working? And when you break free of that, what's on the other side of that? And when you do that, what you'll find is it'll help you unlock that creativity, that potential, and help you build your power into something that's truly extraordinary. So another thing that I want to do is kind of go through a couple of different ways to really break that box and think outside of it, right? What does it look like to become a rebel and think outside the box? So I've got a couple things that I had jotted down that I would love to share with you all. So the first one here, let me get my pen handy. Oh, let's see here. There we go. So the first one is going to be challenge. Oh, wow. My mom would be so sad at my handwriting right now. Challenge the shoulds. Right? So start by questioning the things you should do. Should you really work 12 hours a day to be successful? Should you take on every client that comes your way? Should you follow a one-size-fits-all business strategy? Ask yourself, does this serve me? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to let it go. And again, this can be so difficult because for many people, this is something that they've never really done, right? It's like, hey, we're just kind of going along this path that has been set out. So stopping to even ask, is this something that I should challenge? Isn't what pops in people's mind first. So even that tends to be a huge mindset, just allowing yourself to challenge things, allowing yourself to ask questions. But you'll find that there's so much baggage, dead weight, things that you're holding on to that don't have a place. And the more that you let go of those things, the more you open yourself up to receive the things that do align to you, your purpose, and your goals. So first thing, challenge the shoulds. The second thing is going to be experiment with new ideas. Experiment with new ideas. So we've talked about creativity before. And for me, this is where that creativity part really, really taps in. Because when you think about it, right, you have to take the time to tap into that creativity and come up with new ideas to experiment it. And one of the things that I like to do is so for example, if, I'm trying to get rid of an old habit and I'm trying to determine, do I need to work a 12-hour day to be successful, so to speak? I would stop and think, okay, if I don't want to work a 12-hour day, like what are the other options that I can do? Throw them out there. Maybe, yes, that's going to be working less, but what does that look like? Does that mean that I power block my day more? Does that mean that there's a part that I have to outsource? What does that look like? What are all the different possibilities? And then from there, start to experiment and see like what actually makes my day flow. And when you do this process, right, being that rebel, it means trying things that scare you or seem unconventional, right? Like there's probably some things that you're going to throw out there that you're like, no, that's a crazy idea. And honestly, those crazy ideas are more than likely the best ones. So whether you're testing a new marketing strategy, you're creating an offer that feels bold and crazy, or you're working in a way that aligns with your energy, remember, there's no one right way to run your business. There's only the way that works for you. And so making sure that all of these experiments align to you is the most important thing for you. I mean, when I decided to start creating this YouTube channel and, even when I was like, okay, I'm going to do one on Monday, one on Wednesday, and one on Friday. And I actually missed last Friday because we spent 2 days pressure washing and sealing my driveway, and I only thought it was going to take one. But when I came up with that idea and I was like, I need to do this to get the consistency down, and even to really focus on understanding how to go about this process. And my dad was like, whoa, that's so many. Like, are you sure you want to do that? And I was like, hey, this is the only way I'm going to get good. I need to be doing 3 a week. And then the last thing here, and it kind of ties into that, is redefine success on your terms. All right, so what do I mean by that? Forget what society says success looks like. Is it a 6-figure income, a fancy office, or is it more freedom, more joy, and doing work you love? Define success in a way that feels authentic to you. And just like we talked about before, there's going to be no one size approach on this one, right? This is really going to align to you and what it is that you're passionate about and what your personal goals are. I remember a time when I was working in corporate and I had a particular role that I enjoyed when I took it on, but over time it became less and less enjoyable and more of a chore. And I remember walking away from that role to a different role, still within the same company, but I ended up having my pay almost cut in half by making that change. And I know there are people that, tried to talk me out of it, looked at me like I was crazy. What are you doing? I heard people, there were multiple people that told me like, hey, you're a single mom. Like, are you sure this is the right financial decision for you? But not only were we fine, but for me, I really, really thrived in that new position. So even though, the pay wasn't as high as it was before, that wasn't what success meant for me and in that moment. And it's okay if success changes over time and what that looks like. Perfectly acceptable. And honestly, probably a little bit more healthy than anything else. All right. So challenge the shoulds, experiment with new ideas, redefine success on your terms, and use these 3 things. Hold on to them as you're starting to get rid of those ideas, those thought processes that no longer serve you, and are starting to look outside the box and figure out what makes the most sense for you and your business. So just to wrap it up, when you think about this, being a rebel isn't about breaking the rules just because, right? Just because you can do it, now you're doing it. It's about breaking free from the rules that hold you back. So the ones that are holding you back, what's blocking you, what's keeping you from getting to your goals. Let's start moving those out of the way. So if you've been waiting for permission to do things differently, take it from me. Do it, right? Take this as your sign. Go out there, do things different. Here it is. Here's your sign. Go out there, toss aside what's not working for you, and create a life that benefits you and what you are trying to accomplish. And if this resonated with you, hit the like button, subscribe. We would love to have you as a part of our YouTube community, and I will see you all on Friday.